Hello, here's my final presentation.
Hi, Joey. What if you could discuss what you feel are the advantages and the disadvantages to the design of your house?
Firstly, I would like to say that my idea of the house was inspired by two concepts: open space and simplicity. I wanted a home that had a simple design. I think simple designs are valuable because of their efficiency in construction and their versatility. Simple designs are consumable to many audiences because they're so simple, um, and also because their rooms can be redesignated for different types of spaces. For example, my public space is only one room, um, and this room has only one immovable aspect to it, which is the kitchen. But if a family wanted to have their TV next to their kitchen, they could do so. Next, the concept of open space is another great part about my design. The public room is undivided. This allows for a very communal home. It allows for others to easily interact with each other, and it allows the bodies to navigate from one side of the home to the other very easily.
Okay. Um, in terms of the actual construction, can you describe the difference between bearing and non-bearing walls and show these walls on your design?
Yes, so a bearing wall takes on the majority of the weight of the roof/house, while a non-bearing wall doesn't. My house has 4 exterior bearing walls and 4 interior bearing walls. It has also 4 interior non-bearing walls. I designated the biggest walls as the bearing walls, and these walls also lay usually in the midst of the house, so these walls usually, they're big and they also touch the most surface area of the ceiling. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's a picture, and here I have my bearing walls. See how it's taking up majority of the surface space as compared to the other walls? This one too, and this one too. And so what it does is it allows more room to hold the rafters, which hold the weight. These non-bearing walls do not do that. These non-bearing walls, as discussed in the next question, they don't do that.
All right. Well, kind of that you covered part of this, but maybe you can go into more detail and explain why some walls on your project were chosen to be bearing and some were not.
Okay. I chose the smallest and most standoffish or reserved walls as the non-bearing walls. They don't touch enough rafters for me to consider them bearing. As you can see, they don't touch enough rafters. They're very small, standoffish, and put to the side. They don't cover that much surface area of the ceiling. They don't carry that much weight, so I chose those to be my non-bearing.
All right. In your project, if you could, as an example, explain the purpose of the floor plan and what type of information it shows.
So the floor plan is very useful. They show the relationships of dimensions of the spaces. They show the windows and the doors and their relationship to the spaces in the house. They also show the name of each room, and they also show the furniture, where it is, and the elevation points within the project. It shows where the elevation points within the project, where they are. So you can see the windows, the doors, the dimensions in relation to the floor, and dimension in relation to the furniture, and you can see the names of each room, and you can see also the elevations that we have picked out for you to see within the project.
Very good. Also, in terms of construction, can you explain the different foundation details and how they support the structure? Can you show which part of the foundation plan is being detailed?
Okay, so here are my foundation details. Okay, so we have 3 different types of walls. We have the exterior bearing, we have the interior bearing, and we have the interior non-bearing. And as you can see, the interior non-bearing doesn't have that much roots to the bottom of the floor, while as the interior bearing it has a T. It's literally toothed into the ground. The exterior bearing is also toothed into the ground, but it's the side of the wall, so it doesn't have to have like a hook like this one. What else I can say? Both bearing walls have anchor bolts. The non-bearing does not have an anchor bolt. What else? There's insulation on the exterior wall, of course, because that provides, heat and cooling to stay easily kept inside or outside of the house. And then we also have, little things like different types of blocks, and that goes into more construction, why we use those different types of blocks, which I'm not particularly trained in, but we show those.
Can you maybe give me an idea of the procedure on how the roof plan was created using Rivet? Can you tell me the tools and techniques that were used when creating the roof on your project?
Yes, so in Rivet, we used a part of Rivet called it's under architecture, and then under architecture we have another component called, I believe it's for the roof. And we did basic roofs. Let me show you. So it's under the roof. It's under architecture. It's under the architecture plan. And what we did is we went to roof, we went to roof, build, and we used the roof by footprint tool. We didn't use the roof by extrusion. We didn't use the roof by face. I played around with the other tools, and there is a roof where you can make it instead of what is that called? That's called A-frame, but there are different types of A-frames. Instead of gambrel or we just use the A-frame. But roof by footprint is really easy because all you have to do is trace around the walls, and then you say, I believe it's like set or check, and then it builds the house up for you. And then you can manipulate inside of Rivet the slope of the roof, and you can manipulate how big your overhang is, which in building codes I believe 2 feet is the maximum. And so yeah, you go to architecture, build, roof by footprint, draw out your premise, and then press check. It'll automatically put the house together. Depending on your underlay, or VR, standing for visual, it's your visual settings. Depending on where you set your visual settings, you'll be able to see your roof. Say if your visual settings are low, you're going to get your roof cut off, so you have to adjust your visual settings. That way you can see your roof at its point, at its finest. And then yeah, like you said, you can go to slope and we use the slopes 312 and 412. That was our slope, but you could have it higher, lower, whatever. That's what we used.
By 412, you mean a 4-inch drop for every foot?
Yes.
I see. Thank you. Now, in Rivet, can you tell me what the purpose of an interior elevation view is, and the type of things that would be shown?
For an interior elevation, so they show specific rooms, and usually they point at one direct wall, but they're to show the inside of rooms. And this helps with showing the furniture setup. It helps with showing the fixtures, the dimensions of the furniture and the fixtures in relation to the house and the ceiling in the rooms. And it also helps interior designers, electricians, and plumbers navigating where each outlet, socket, light, sink is supposed to be, wet wall is supposed to be. That helps them see where things are supposed to go.
Oh, thank you. And finally, can you explain the method of construction that would be used in the construction of your house? Like the framing materials and methods, what kind of foundation construction you'd have, the type of plumbing and electrical, and maybe the interior finishing.
So my house is going to have a stick frame. It has 12-inch ceramic tile. It has a brick chimney. It has a drywall interior and a stucco exterior. And then also, I already designated the non-bearing walls and bearing walls, and then it's up to a engineer to let me know if I put them in the right place. I also set up the wet walls within the plan, and I also set up the wires, outlets, switches, light sockets. I set up the smoke detectors, and then it's up to an electrician to let me know whether I put it in the right place.